Welcome back to my views and news. Some news stories for you. Firstly, an Ethiopian journalist has gone into exile for the second time. The man is in exile now. He was arrested last year, released, and now he is out of Ethiopia. Secondly, Professor Kindeya of Tigray External Affairs Bureau today shared a grim picture of what is happening in Adwa. Tigray is a major city which came under ENDF control a few weeks ago. And thirdly, we observed Olusegun Obasanjo, African Union's high representative, the mediator who mediated Pretoria agreement between TPLF and Ethiopian federal government, arrived in Mekelle today, and there Tigray's elders, religious leaders, and others raised question of the presence of Eritrean military in Tigray. What did he say? How did he respond? Did he try to assure Tigray's leaders that Eritrean military would have to withdraw from Tigray? We have a clip for you showing how he tried to assure about the withdrawal of Eritrean military from Tigray. Firstly, viewers, an Ethiopian journalist has gone into exile. Tamerat Negera was arrested in December last year. Did several videos when he was arrested, I remember. And he remained in prison till the start of April. For around 4 months, he remained in prison. In April, he was released. He was a founder of Tirara Media Network, a YouTube channel. And in his programs, he was very critical of ethnic federalism, of TPLF, of Eritrea, of Oromia Prosperity Party, Oromian leaders. He was charged with creating conflicts, charged with sharing hateful narratives against Oromo people, Oromia government. But he was released. And now he has left Ethiopia. 2 days ago, reportedly, he left Ethiopia. His wife, Salam Bale, has confirmed that he is out of Ethiopia. This is the second time that Tamerat Negera has gone into exile. In 2009, he fled Ethiopia when TPLF-led EPRDF alliance launched a crackdown on dissenting voices in media. He fled to the US back then. Once again, he's out of Ethiopia. Some say he is going to the US. So whoever is critical of Ethiopian federal government, Oromia regional government as well, it is difficult for them to live in Ethiopia and to work freely. Tamerat Negera out of Ethiopia, Lucy Kasa fled Ethiopia a few months ago. Skandar Naga said goodbye to politics. He said he did not have a conducive environment to continue his political activities. I think Bakle Garba has not returned from the US. He is still in the US or Canada. He and Jawar departed on diaspora trip. They traveled to some countries of Europe, then US and Canada, and there he criticized Ethiopian federal government. Reportedly, a message was sent to Bakle Garba not to return to Ethiopia. He is not in Ethiopia. He did not return to Ethiopia, reportedly. Jawar left Ethiopia a few days ago. He was in Germany, then in Kenya, I think. So it's difficult for people to work in Ethiopia in opposition. Though strong opposition is a piece of evidence that a country is democratic. If there is no strong political opposition, no independent judiciary, no independent media, it means that Elections are being held, but there is no real democracy in the country. And that seems to be the case in Ethiopia. Opposition parties, critics, journalists who challenge government's narratives are not allowed to work freely. Will Tamerat Negera continue his reporting on Ethiopia from abroad? That remains to be seen. Secondly, viewers, Professor Kindea Tigray External Affairs Bureau in charge today shared a grim picture of what is happening in Adwa. Adwa city of Tigray came under EDF ENDF control a few weeks ago. When EDF ENDF captured Shire, then they rapidly moved along B30 highway from Shire towards Aksom, Adwa. Professor Kindea claims that still Eritrean military is deployed to Adwa. Regional forces are there in Adwa. Ethiopian National Defense Force soldiers too. Fano fighters as well. It means all the forces which were part of the operation to capture Adwa are still in Adwa. No signs of any withdrawal. Further, he said that no electricity, no water, no food, no banking, no telecom in Adwa. People are suffering. Professor Kindea is Tigray government official. That is why we quote his statements. If it is not happening in Adwa, Ethiopian government should clarify. Ethiopian government should reject the statements of Professor Kindea. But we have not seen any statement from the government side to challenge the statements of Professor Kindea so far. It means that what he is saying might not be 100% true, but still no signs of large-scale withdrawal of forces from Tigray. And yes, aid has arrived in Shire, but we have not heard any aid organization report about aid distribution in Adwa or in Aksom too. So, if there is crisis, humanitarian crisis in Adwa Aksom, it's the responsibility of Ethiopian federal government now to ensure that aid reaches the people in Adwa and Aksom. Lastly, viewers, Olusegun Obasanjo arrived in Mekelle today. There, the Bratson Gabriel Mikhail welcomed him at Mekelle airport. Then some meetings were held. And the meetings were attended not only by Tigray government, but also by Tigray's religious leaders. I don't know about opposition parties. Were opposition parties invited to have an interaction with Olusegun Obasanjo, Betona, Salsivojene, Tigray Independence Party? Were three parties invited? If a viewer has any information, do share with me. Because Tigray Population Fund is also used to making solo decisions. And that is why opposition parties criticize TPLF. The TPLF takes solo flight. While Obasanjo is in Mekelle, I think opposition parties should be given an opportunity to interact with him. We only saw pictures of some religious leaders of Tigray sitting with Obasanjo and obviously Tigray government officials like the Bratson. There, these Tigray's elders raised a question of the presence of Eritrean military in Tigray. Obasanjo responded. He said, no country allows foreign forces to be on its soil. It means he is assuring that Eritrean military will have to withdraw from Tigray. And he says, the purpose of paying the visit to Tigray is to see the implementation of the peace agreement. So he is trying to assure Tigray's leaders that Eritrean military will withdraw from Tigray. How convincing is this assurance? That remains to be seen. Take a listen to what he said while responding to questions raised by Tigray's elders about the presence of Eritrean military in Tigray. Think for you.
These issues, among others, have been the issues that we have been talking about. We have been working on the issue of foreign troops. And no country should accept, the presence of foreign country on its land. And that, in fact, at our meeting in Pretoria and the agreement we reached in Pretoria, at our meeting in Nairobi with the military leaders, these issues came up for discussion and for way out to deal with them. The visit we are paying today is to see how best the issues that you have raised and the ones that you have not raised, like the issue of bringing about services, like the issue of human rights. They are all issues that we will discuss how to get them all settled.